Today, I had the biggest trading day of my entire career, closing up over $100,000 in profits, and mainly all of that coming from Tesla. And I want to go over the Tesla setup, why we took this trade, and I want to go over the shareholder meeting. More than anything, what I try to do here in these videos is show you guys from my perspective as somebody who's been doing this for 9 years, not just what I'm trading and why I'm trading it, but to really have you guys see the emotion and the thought process and how I analyze risk as I get into these situations. And I think that over my past 4 years of having a YouTube channel and talking about Tesla and talking about my trades, I definitely got stuck in this hamster wheel of like trying to put out content, trying to talk about things that other people want to talk about. And I actually think that the easiest way that I can help a lot of people is by using this as like a trading journal and just sitting down like I am right now in my office. It's 9 o'clock. I'm going to go to bed probably in like 2 hours and recapping what I did in a day and recapping Tesla stock and recapping, what I'm currently doing at that time. And so if you're in the beginning of your trading journey, or if you've been doing this as long as I have, understand that everything you see me put on here is relative. I've been doing this for 9 years. Every single month is not a good month, right? We use a case study as January, which was literally my worst trading month. I traded 220 patterns. So that's not just a couple, that's a ton. And we ended up losing money. But then there are times where the patterns are insane and the law of averages hit. And if you guys understand game theory, you'll understand that. And we have weeks like the past 2 weeks of June, the first 2 weeks of June, where we have not really missed anything major. And so I want you to understand that wherever you are, this is a long-term journey. This is not something that's going to happen overnight. 90% of traders and investors do very, very poorly, and it's not because of the strategy or not understanding how a company makes money if you're a long-term investor. It all comes down to your expectations, your discipline, and metaphorically, your ability to eat shit for a very, very long time. And if you've been a Tesla investor for the past year, we've been eating shit for a very, very long time, right? And so what I want to do in this video is go over the position first, and then I want to go over where I think Tesla's going to be heading in the next couple of days. I will do a shareholder recap if you guys want me to do that, a shareholder meeting recap. I will say that Elon was very optimistic today, which is something that I really love. And it's so funny because he was like so optimistic, but even he was like, hey, I understand I've been extremely optimistic in the past. I'm not socially unaware. And it was just good to see from a CEO and from Elon specifically. And so I'll do a full recap if you want, but I think the shareholder meeting went very well. Nothing crazy happened, right? They didn't release the car that talking about the potential $20,000 car, which I think is what a lot of people were hoping we'd get, more of an idea on robotaxi and product launches and stuff. But overall, as a long-term shareholder, phenomenal meeting and exactly what I want to see out of my CEO. So let's first just start by looking at the position and analyzing risk. So something you have to understand is when you're looking at this journal and you're looking at my trades and you're tracking all my stuff, because I post every single day, my wins and my losses, real time, everything over on X. If you're watching this on YouTube, you should definitely follow me there because on YouTube, I can't update you guys as fast as I can over there. But I want you to realize that this is realized profits and losses. So this doesn't count any positions that I'm in right now where I'm up, and it does not count any positions where I'm down. So at this point, up until 2 days ago when Tesla had cratered, I was down about $140,000 in unrealized losses. And so if we look at the position on Tesla, you're going to see that this was a $100,000 position on these weekly calls. Now, these weekly calls 2 days ago were down 90%. So I'm still holding July calls, but these calls were down 90%. And when I entered them on the 3rd, I thought that Tesla was going to rally and that we were going to see a pre-breakout of this squeeze that we have here. I thought that we were going to see a potential run. And so I entered that position. And then I decided that that was going to be my very aggressive position on this comp package and this potential move up to $200. But that position literally cratered like that. As soon as I bought it, it cratered. It went from $5.75 per contract all the way down to $4.95 per contract. And I bought more. The reason I didn't sell it is because even though this was a massive trade, Overall, relative to just my earnings in the past 6 months, which is realized it was like 820,000, that's 10% of just my profits. And that, I don't mean to say that in like an egotistical way. I just want you to understand the ratios. Because if you see like, dude, $100,000 position, that is a lot of money, right? But you have to realize that that's not just my capital. That's like a tenth of just my winnings this year. And so that's why I didn't close out the trade, because my thought was that if it expires worthless, it's a dagger to the heart. It's going to suck, but it's not going to wreck me. And it's not even going to take away 1/10 of my profits for the year. That is really good risk management, even though that position was way bigger than I wanted. So this morning, when it gapped and just started running, I closed out this one as fast as I could, because my thought process is I think Tesla's still going to run over the next couple of weeks. But I obviously these expired tomorrow, so I wanted to get out of them as soon as I could. I sold them at 9:31, so 1 minute after market open, closed for an $87,000 profit. And now that was nerve wracking. I come on here a lot, like every day, and I try to be very detached monetarily. And even though I'm used to playing with bigger numbers and I've been doing this for as long as I have, like at the end of the day, I'm still just a poor kid who grew up literally like macaroni and cheese, cut up hot dogs, watching my mom work 60 hours a week for $8 an hour. And so I try to be as detached as I possibly can, but I'm sharing this with you guys because I don't like when I feel very emotional or I have too big of a position or something, like I want to share that with you guys, because I feel that the way that a lot of teachers and mentors in the trading space sell the confidence for people to like learn their skill and learn from them is they do it in like a very confident way. Like, we knew this was going to happen, this is this. But like, I want to share with you guys the fact that like when I woke up I couldn't sleep last night. Like, I couldn't sleep because I was just watching what was happening overnight, and I was looking at my delta, and I was like, well, if it goes up to here, I could make 200 grand, and then I could pay off the Cybertruck. Because I just got the Cybertruck like 12 days ago, and I was like, how crazy of a video would it be if I could pay off the Cybertruck in like 13 days of so I just couldn't sleep. And even though it worked out really well today, I don't want to feel that way, right? Because that feeling of like being excited, we've all been on the other side of it, which is, the comp package doesn't go through, it's cratering, and I'm sitting there, granted, I did risk accordingly, but I could have been feeling the opposite way. And so the goal for me as a trader and as an investor is to remove my emotions as much as I humanly can. It's very hard, but the way that I started was just by trading so little money in my positions that I didn't care at all what happened. It was very easy to take profit, very easy to stop out. And then what I would do is I would increase position size by 10%. So let's say it's $1,000 worth of options, now it's 1,100. Then I would go to 12, then I'd go to 1,400, then I'd go to 1,500. And then once I got to a certain amount, let's just say it's like $5,000 per position, I'd feel like, okay, I'm checking my phone too much. I'm not paying attention to the people in my life because I'm so worried about the market, which just happens. You check out as an entrepreneur, you check out as a trader because you're just focused on your phone and what's happening in the market. And for me, like my students and what they're doing, that it's not a life that I want to live, no matter how much money, I make. Because it sounds like a first world thing. And if I would have heard myself like 5 years ago say this, I'd be so mad. But like, money is only good to a point, right? Like, the reason you amass money and the reason that you invest in companies to make money is so that you can take the money and just spend it to get your time back in the future. And so for me, that's not something that I want to get trapped in. Let's talk about Tesla's setup right now that we kind of went a little sideways, and what's going to happen from this point. So I'm still in my July calls. I was watching this liquidity level today here of about $188. So I made a joke with my buddy on Twitter. He said if we closed and hit 190, he'd buy coffee. If we close around 188, I'd buy coffee. It closed below, so both of it. But we did take both of those numbers out. And my reason for that was because this is where we had rejected 2 times before. The thing you have to understand about liquidity in these levels is that big money, like the people who can actually move the market, they need liquidity to sell into or to buy into. And so if you saw what happened here on this liquidity move a couple of days ago on that stop loss hunt that we talked about, all of these people have stop losses down within this range. And so what will usually happen is when price tests back into this area, all these stop losses will happen. Well, now that those calls, specifically my options calls, somebody could have been picking up the calls that just made me $100,000 almost. They could have been picking it up for 90% off because my options were down nearly 90%. And so during this liquidity rundown here, contracts are so cheap. Everyone's getting caught out or sold out. And everyone who's getting stopped out, now that becomes cheap liquidity for big money. So they start buying up all these contracts super cheap. Now, in order to close those contracts, right, all the contracts that they bought down here, these weekly calls that were, basically tripled at one point today, all these weekly calls, well, where's that next liquidity level? Where are more people going to step in? Up here. So this level now becomes liquidity and the ability for these people to get out of their positions, especially in like the options market. And we're looking obviously at the technical analysis here of Tesla, but like they need liquidity. They can't just sell to each other. They got to usually sell to the public and sell to retail, who's losing 90% of the time. And so I decided to close my weeklies, like I said earlier there. But I do think that we are going to probably pull back to worst $180. If we take a Fibonacci retracement from swing low up to this swing high, you'll see that our golden zone is basically between 174 to 180. So I think that's the worst that we would pull back to. And I do think from there, we would end up pushing our way back up to 190 and 200 in the next couple of weeks. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Like I think we could retest 190 and hopefully take the liquidity level out. If that doesn't happen, we might get range bound and stuck between 190 to $180. But yeah, I hope that this video helps, guys. Thanks for all of your support. It truly means the world to me. I'll put the link to all of our free courses down below. If you guys want to get access to all the free courses that we have, there's 5 of them so far right now, from absolute beginners to somebody who's never even doesn't even know what a stock is or a balance sheet or an income statement, to technical analysis, learning discipline trading, which is the hardest aspect. Like to get your discipline and to get your psychology in order is very, very tough. Learning options, and then my exact strategy that has made us $600,000 in 6 months. And now it's up to almost 900. So super simple. We talk about that exact setup here every single day. All those courses are free down below. And as always, guys, thanks for all the support, and I'll see you tomorrow.